This first section asks us to simplify and to be sure to write our answer in standard form. So I'm just combining like terms. That's all that means. And when it says standard form, that means that you start with the highest power on the x's and you work your way down. So looking at this problem, it starts off with parentheses, but since there's nothing in front of this parenthesis, these are not necessary, this set of parentheses. And when I look at the other set, since the only thing in front of them is a plus sign, I also don't need that set. So I'm just looking at all of my terms and I'm going to put together the ones that match, that are like terms. So when I see this x squared, there are no other terms that have x squareds. So this 5x squared has nothing to combine with. It just moves down and it's by itself. So then I move on to my next terms, which are my x's. I have a -8 and a +7. So -8 plus 7, -1. You don't have to write the 1 if you don't want to. You could just put -x. And then finally your constants. You have a +3 and a +4. And this is my answer. And again, it said to be sure to put it in standard form, which we've done. That's x to the second, x to the first, and no x, where they go down in powers. So this next one, same thing, we're still combining like terms, but you can see no parentheses this time. So what I'm looking at is all of my different terms. It looks like I have some that have x squared, I have some that have just x, and I have constants. So if I start with the highest power, which is the x squared, I have -4, and I also have -2 as far as x squareds go. So -4 and -2 add up to -6. Very important, when you're adding and subtracting, you don't change the exponents. I have -4x squareds and -2x squareds. I have -6x squareds. Don't add those twos together. Moving on to the x's, I have -3 and +8, so I have 5x. And finally, I have +5 and -7, which adds up to -2. And of course, we purposely started with the highest power of x and worked our way down so that it would be in standard form. So here we're back to having parentheses on number 3, but this one doesn't have anything in front of it. Now this one has a minus sign in front of it, and that's a game changer. You have to have the parenthesis if there's a minus in front of it, because it means you're distributing a -1. So I have my first set, the 2x squared minus 5, and I have -1 times 4x squared, -1 to 2x, and -1 to -1. So we talked about this in class. When you have a minus sign in front of a parenthesis, which means you're distributing the -1, really all that happens is minus 2x. There are no other x terms to combine with, so it just moves down. And then I have a -5 and a +1. So here's this answer. More in this section. Here, again, I have a minus sign in front of the parentheses. This necessary. I'm just rewriting what's in this set. This set, since it has the minus sign in front of it, just like we talked about, everything in here will get a sign change. So this -2x squared is now positive. The +4 and the -3 is now positive. That's what happens when we distribute the negative. And now I'm combining like terms. So this x squared, which has a +7, and the +2x squared, give me 9x squareds. -5x and -4x add up to -9x. And finally, -1 plus 3, +2 in standard form.